Yo, Devy Junkies. Brandon here from the Devy Deep Dive podcast and creator of the Devy Dashboard. Welcome to the day after, right? Sunday morning. It's about 10 o'clock here in Philly. And, yesterday was great, right? We were all waiting for yesterday for months, right? So this show, I'm going to be posting every Sunday morning as long as I'm not like too hungover. And we're going to just talk about really instant reactions. This is my Devy instant reaction show I'm going to do every Sunday morning, just to really give you a quick overview of kind of what we saw. Now, today I was thinking there's just so much football yesterday, so much to talk about. On my podcast, I'm going to record on Mondays. We'll get into a lot of depth of different positions. But today I figured for my, really kind of my first episode, I did the first episode of this show 2 days ago after we had the Thursday night games, but I'm going to plan on doing this on Sundays, is just to really go quick initial reactions, right? And of course on my podcast, and we do a show on this YouTube channel on Tuesday nights called The Huddle, which is going to be my first live show that I've ever done on this channel as well. So if you want to tune in for that, we'll get into a bunch of discussions on these players with a bunch of dashboard guys that, we'll go and break down. But today I figured, you know what, let's talk about the quarterbacks, right? I mean, the quarterbacks are what we were really, really looking to watch, right? We had a lot of excitement. We had new players, Hudson Card, right, from Texas. I'm going to be putting a whole film out on him on this YouTube channel. I cut up all his film to give everyone also a look at him. Haines King started, right? But we had Bryce Young, we had DJ, right? So let's get into it. I'm going to go down through the 2022 class and the 2023 class and then the 2024 class, all right? And just really, like I said, this is an instant reaction show, quick hits, just my initial reaction thoughts. Hopefully on Sunday mornings, you'll join me on this and, just kind of, if you didn't really get to watch ball yesterday, at least I've got a little update for you on what at least I saw. So Spencer Rattler, right? Played Tulane. He was 30 of 39, 304, 1 TD, 2 picks, all right? Yeah, a little inconsistent. He's a gunslinger, man. That's just what he is. People on Twitter yesterday were going crazy over he's making too many mistakes. He's got to limit that. He's got to play within the means of himself. He definitely sometimes doesn't take what's given to him, and he's out there trying to make plays, so that is a fault of his. But anyway, he's still the top, for me, my QB1 in Devy right now. He's going to be translating next year to the NFL. Sam Howell, right? I was really excited to see Sam Howell, right? I talked about him on the Huddle show that we did last Tuesday with the Dashboard guys, that this was the game I really wanted to see because Sam Howell lost all of his weapons. Not only does he not have a running game anymore, he lost, Diami Brown and Daz Newsome. So now he's got Josh Downs and a bunch of other guys and a running back room that's kind of weak right now that isn't probably going to establish. I know Ty Chandler's there. So how did he perform? He was 17 of 32, 208, 1 TD, and 3 picks. I mean, he played Virginia Tech. He didn't look great, right? But again, I don't want to overreact, right? I think we have a tendency of overreacting and underreacting to certain things. It's week one. Let's let everyone settle in. A lot of new, faces on these teams. So Sam Howell's still up there for me. I mean, I'm not going to overreact and start putting him down in my ranks. But it's something to keep an eye on because, is he going to be able to get that production that he had last year? Still a great player, got the arm, the mobility, and everything. So Matt Corral is, kind of next in my ranks for 2022. He plays Monday night. Not much to talk about there. Willis, right? Malik Willis, he played Campbell, I think, which isn't a very good school. He flashed. He had 15 for 23, 217. Everyone was throwing that Twitter post out. He had a touchdown also. He also had a touchdown on the ground. He ran 5 times for 55 yards as well. But he threw some nice long passes down the field. Again, he's a guy that could he rise next year in the ranks as he continues to develop, especially if Sam, Howell and Rattler maybe don't, live up to the billing. I think this whole 2022 class is a horse race. I think it's going to be, we could have some surprises along the way. All right, Carson Strong. Here's a guy that I really kind of wanted to dig into a little bit, at least today, right? Because there's a lot of guys out there that are just in love with Carson Strong. I'm not one of those guys. I think he's got the arm talent. I'm super worried though about his mobility. If you watch the game, I watched his game. Okay, he played Cal. I watched the game this morning, and and if you actually went back and looked at his highlights from last year, he had a clean pocket all the time. The guy really doesn't have a lot of mobility. A lot of people that on Twitter have ripped me and said, hey, you know what, who cares about it? He's got the arm strength, the intangibles and stuff like that. That's great, man. But I'm telling you, this guy, I'm just really worried. He has a clean pocket. If you watch the game against Cal, he threw some 50-50 balls up there, just tossing it up to his receivers. And So I don't know. I'm just a little concerned about Strong. I'm not buying into the hype that he's like this lock solid number 3 or 4 in next year's class. A lot of people knocked Mac Jones last year for the lack of mobility, but I think Mac Jones has a lot more athleticism and the ability to move around the pocket than Carson Strong. He is slow when he has to move around in that pocket and maneuver. And yeah, he's got the big arm. He also throws a lot of balls off his back foot if you really actually watch his fundamentals and stuff. So that's just my initial thoughts, at least from week 1 on Carson Strong. And of course, we're going to watch him all year, and things could actually change, right? Keaton Slovis, I wanted to talk about. I just cut up a little film thing that I'm going to put out on Twitter this morning. Give me Slovis over Carson Strong. And in fact, I'm going to be changing my ranks on my dashboard and moving him up. I know that the whole Devy community is out on Slovis. I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of Devy podcasts. I'm the only one out there that's ever said, let's give the guy a chance. I know there's a couple other Devy guys out there that believe, but for the majority, most people have already kicked Slovis to the curb because, we live in a what have you done for me lately society, right? If you're not really good the year before, people don't like you anymore. And if you're good, they like you, right? So I have a feeling Slovis, I think he played a decent game. It wasn't the best game yesterday, but I'm telling you, he can maneuver in the pocket, and I'll be putting something out on Twitter as well and putting a little video out on my dashboard crew of just, the guy's got mobility. He doesn't have the biggest arm, that's a lot of people are going to knock him on that. But you know what? Either does Mac Jones, and he seems to be succeeding in New England, right? Jerkovic, right? Boston College and Zay Flowers, they've got a great connection. Jerkovic was 18 for 27, 332 yards, 3 TDs. Now they played Colgate, so let's not get too excited. It is Colgate, right? Defenses matter, I guess. But man, what I really liked, what I saw on him, I didn't watch the whole game on Jerkovic, but I did see a little bit of his highlights. His mobility for a guy his size, I like. We just talked about Carson Strong, right? And his ability to, not be able to move around. Well, Jerkovic, he can. So I kind of like him better right now because you have to be able to move around. You have to be able to, when you have collapsing pockets, you have to be able to maneuver, not run down the field and score, but you got to be able to make plays. And I think Slovis does that better. Jerkovic, I think, does that much better as well. And then for the last guy for 2022, right, is Beau Nix. Okay. He was 20 of 22 for 275 and 3 TDs. Now, I just put a funny tweet out there yesterday, like, are we back on the bandwagon with Beau Nix? Probably not, but I at least wanted to mention him. All right, so that's my rundown for the 2022 class. Like I said, this show is going to be quick, down and dirty, just some fun on Sunday mornings to give you some quick overview of what I saw. But let's talk about the 2023 class, right? I think that's where the excitement rolls in because we had Bryce Young, DJ, and CJ Stroud, right? And we've been waiting to see them. We saw a little glimpse of DJ last year. Didn't see any CJ Stroud much last year. Didn't see any Bryce Young at all last year, except in mop-up duty. So this is what everybody was excited about, right? Bryce Young was impressive. I think he's got that quick release. He had 27 completions out of 38, 344 yards and 4 TDs. Look, when you play with Bama, with all that offensive line, the big boys up front, you got the receivers, you got the running game, you got the whole package on this team. He was going to be successful. But I'll tell you what, I like his ability to maneuver, right? And he threw that ball quickly, threw some nice touch passes on the long ball, but he also has that arm strength to whip those short and intermediate passes that I thought he looked really, really, really good out of these 3 guys. Now, CJ Strong, he played a couple nights ago, Ohio State. He had 13 to 22, 294, 4 TDs, and 1 interception. He started off a little shaky. His long ball accuracy wasn't great. But again, these are guys that are, you know how much pressure these kids are under? Just the pressure that these kids are under with this whole conference, with the whole team, national TV game, your first start. The intangibles matter, man. Who can handle that pressure? It plays a role. I don't care what anyone says. As good as we think these kids can be, I just think that it plays an enormous role. And Bryce Young was able to handle it. He's got a really good supporting cast. CJ Stroud started off a little shaky, but I felt he really played well in the second half of that game and showed his true colors coming out. So they're in good shape. Now, DJU was a different situation yesterday. You could see, again, intangibles, right? You could see the moment was very big for DJ. That's what I took away from this game. Wasn't reading the field. not really kind of going through his progressions. He seemed extremely nervous, and his O-line wasn't very good either. It did not give him any kind of favors at all. He was under an enormous amount of pressure like the entire game. They had no running game to speak of. Where Ohio State and Alabama, they got those great running games. I think, Clemson might be in a bit of a transition until we see Will Shipley or whatever. But anyway, that offensive line needs work, and that's a little bit of a concern. I have DJ as my number 4th, QB overall in my Devy ranks and my Devy dashboard. I know a lot of guys had DJ like number 1 without question. And I never really understood that because we've never even seen the kid play, and we have 2 years of Howell and Rattler. So for me, I'm a little bit more conservative when I do my ranks because I want to be able to see people instead of the projection of how great you're supposed to be. And so when I see a guy who I can actually see like tape play in college, I'm going to probably lean towards those players and rank them a little higher too, because they're also going to hit our dynasty rosters a little earlier as well. So, but DJ, that was a rough night. I felt that was a rough night. Again, I'm not going to overreact and move him down my ranks and whatever. I'm not going to change any of my ranks in my Devy dashboard for a few weeks. I'm going to at least see 2 or 3 games of these guys to see. But DJ is going to need the rebound. Hopefully he got that first game jitters out of the way, right? So Max Johnson, a guy that I've been really high on my dashboard. I've been talking about him a lot. He did, you probably saw that crazy ass play that he threw that ball backwards. I mean, I don't know what the hell that was. But other than that, I watched that game this morning. Again, he did not have a lot of time either. That offensive line looks shaky, and he has no running game either. I mean, LSU has just no running identity at all, and that is concerning for Max Johnson for me because a quarterback's best friend is having a solid running game, right? And right now, I just don't think they have any identity on the running ball. But Max Johnson, I like his quick release. I think he has, for a big guy, again, he's got that mobility that at least you need to move around in the pocket and get outside and make plays. But I thought he looked okay. Boutte just, he really threw some nice balls to Boutte. Threw some nice long balls, had some incompletions too, and was okay. But still a guy that I can think could make some noise in the 2023 class. Michael Pratt, I thought was like really impressive against Oklahoma yesterday. I watched that Oklahoma game. I thought that dude took a beating out there. He was 27 of 44, throwing the ball 44 times, 296 yards for 3 TDs, 0 picks. I was impressed with his mobility. I was impressed with the way he was reading the field. I don't know really what his dynasty, getting to our dynasty rosters look like, but I at least wanted to put him in there and at least for a discussion after watching, Rattler. Of course, you watch on the other side as well, and I thought he was impressive. Going back to Johnson, he had 26 completions out of 46. Not the greatest completion percentage, 330 yards. 3 TDs and 1 pick. Again, but that running game, I mean, Max Johnson can't throw the ball 46 freaking times a game. It's you're not going to win games that way. You have to be able to establish the run. 2 more guys I want to talk about before I let you go here today. Haines King from Texas A&M, 21, 33, 33 attempts, 21 completions, 292 yards, 2 TDs, and 3 picks. I have not watched this game, but I will be today or tomorrow. I'm interested to just see. That was his first start for Texas A&M. Super athletic kid. I saw some clips on Twitter going around that he was really good, maneuvering around the pocket. He's got that mobility, but I'm interested to see his game. Hudson Card I thought was really impressive. He's the last guy we're going to kind of talk about here. Well, not the last guy. I got 2 more after this, but I watched that Texas game. I thought he was really impressive. He made some really nice throws. He stood in the pocket. I thought for his first game, he looked pretty solid. I'll be dropping his full game film on this YouTube channel here shortly today for you to take a look at if you didn't get to see Hudson Card. But I think stock up for him for sure. Now, that's the 2023 ranks, right? It's not ranks, but, the 2023 QBs that we needed to at least see that we were excited to talk about. But 2024, man, we saw a glimpse, right, of Caleb Williams. Oklahoma, he stole that, goal line carry from Eric Gray if you didn't get to see the game. But so he ran one in. But the guy I want to talk about from the 2024 class is J.J. McCarthy from Michigan, right? After my boy Blake Corum kind of tore it up, right? They got a really nice lead. J.J. McCarthy came in. He was 4 completions out of 6 attempts for 80 yards and a touchdown, and he had that really impressive throw across the field, across the hashes, which is what we look for in quarterbacks, right, to be able to really make that long ball throw. And I thought he was really impressive. He stood in there, showed a little bit of mobility too, but it was nice to see him get some early play. And we talked about it on my podcast, on the Devy Deep Dive podcast last time on my episode, that I think of all the 2024 QBs, he's the guy that we could probably see first out of, Vandegrift from McCord or all those other guys in the 2024 class. So that's my kind of show for this Sunday morning. It was a great day of football. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. We're going to be dropping all sorts of Tuesday night at 9 p.m. We're going to have a live feed and be talking about me and about 5 or 6 guys from the Devy dashboard are all going to be talking about the weekend's games, projections for next week, and talk about guys who stock up and stock down. So I appreciate you watching. Subscribe to the channel, please, and and check out my podcast as well, Devy Deep Dive, if you haven't, if you're not a listener already, man. All right, so I'll see you next Sunday.